Welcome, everybody, to another episode, the third episode of Recreation Rooster podcast, a podcast for recreation and health enthusiasts. This is Dan Chiavo again and Maisha Jones. You could help support the show by getting one of these great T-shirts we have, Recreation Rooster. And I'm from the greater New York City area. She's from LA. That's why she has a LA in the background. I have New York City. And, you know, welcome to Maisha. How are you today, Maisha?
I'm doing great, Dan. So good to see you. And thank you for our viewership as well. Welcome to Recreation Rooster podcast for health and recreation enthusiasts. We're going to get started with our third episode for 2024. So let's get started with our quote of the day, Dan.
Yes. Quote of the day. Well, I think I'm going to use this one. Um, it takes more people. It takes an hour of play. Wait, let me see if I have it correctly. You'll learn more about somebody in an hour of play than a lifetime of conversation. Um, that's very interesting, I feel like, because in playing you learn about people with through all of the nonverbal signs and you know different aspects of their personality, especially for some of our people who express themselves a little bit differently in arts and music and crafts and games and sports and other avenues besides traditional talking and conversation.
Absolutely. I definitely love that quote. Can you repeat it just one more time for the viewership?
Yeah, you'll learn more about somebody in an hour of play than a lifetime of conversation.
I must admit, you'd be very surprised, especially even in the digital age, how just banter, just regular talk and chat tells you just surface level things about people. When we get an opportunity to engage and play, which is a multi-sensory experience, it really does dive below the surface. It really helps us to connect and have a very cathartic experience with one another. So I'm totally in agreement with that quote. I think that's a wonderful quote to start off this episode with. Play and then the whole action of interacting. It just reinforces friendship, social connection. It reinforces the ability for us to show the skills and aptitudes that we have and also to share in common interests. So I'm definitely one to be much, much more interested in actively engaging with people than just merely talking. Absolutely. That's wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, of course, and you know, there's also probably hidden things, items in the subconscious that and unconscious that might come out during play, and other things that might not be accessible necessarily through verbal communication as well. So yeah, definitely, it's definitely is a powerful medium, and it's definitely an important part of our lives. Is playing,
Yeah.
learning, and growing, and yeah, absolutely.
And then just thinking about, recreation therapists and how oftentimes, especially in clinical settings, oftentimes they dissuade RTs from even utilizing the word play in our clinical documentation. They prefer that we use intervention or engage or modality that might be related to either a skill acquisition or a symptom reduction, which is all fine. The semantics of just words in general, it doesn't negate the power of play. And I find that a superpower that we have as RTs is that oftentimes we use these social engagements, these interactions to affect a positive change in our clients. And then we have the wherewithal to be able to use, objectives and goals and do observations and put them on clinical documentations that does, in my opinion, improve the plan of care. And it also helps other members of our interdisciplinary team to make judgment calls when it comes to the direction that we want to further assist our patients in improving their health outcomes. And also, it gives those who are new to the patient the opportunity to see them in a different light and to see how their abilities and how they're able to navigate their social environments as well.
Right, yeah, and with the kids, it's just fun. We're playing with them, and but they're getting, uh, a lot more than that because we can document it in terms of intervention, skills learned, all kinds of different ways of looking at it. So, yeah, there's a lot to it. So
Yeah.
that's the beauty of it. It could, it's applicable on so many levels.
And I love the fact that even as we go through different phases of our lives, that play never stops. Play never stops. And for those who are in adult years that are discouraged or that don't believe of the power of play, oftentimes you do see the negative impacts of environmental stress on their lives because they're not engaging in play. So whether or not they call it play, leisure lifestyle, wellness, which other moniker they want to put next to it. As long as we keep engaging and socially interacting with one another, we can keep sustainable health. So I'm definitely a strong advocate of that. I love that quote. I might just try to even put it on the walls of some of the different communities that are served so that people can understand that play is such much more beneficial to each and every person, much more than just conversation. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. No question about it. So, that's a beautiful thing. Yeah, we hit people on a deeper level in a way than even some of the other therapists can do. So, yeah.
Indeed. So next up, our next segment is called Looking Forward. Dave, take it away.
Right, yeah. And of course, what do you call it? We have looking forward, we have right now quite a number of baby boomers who are getting older. And that makes a significant difference for long-term care and programming for hopefully actually even more in the community. Uh, yeah, resources for older adults. Because I mean, these are people who have been active. They've traveled a lot more than ever. They've been doing activities such as skiing and um, volleyball and much more active than some of the adults before. I mean, for a long time, you might be able to get away with bingo with some of the older adults. They all love that. But with this age of people, I mean, the baby boomers are much more versed in technology than their parents were. So it's really going to be a new challenge to you know incorporate all of this into the programs for older adults. So, and that's really going to be the ways of the future. It's going to be a matter of, and now with the technology, we could keep people in the community longer. So it's going to be more in the community uh, and really kind of keeping people uh, out of an institutionalized kind of a setting and more engaged on a community level in terms of parks and recreation activities, community centers, uh, and with programs with regards to technology and culture and arts and music and a little bit more engaging. We're definitely going to have to step it up compared to what was done for their parents.
Absolutely. And just to clarify, when it comes to baby boomers, which age range are we referring to, Dan?
Yeah, indeed. Those are people who have been born right between 1946 and 1964. Those, right after World War II. So
Right.
18 years after World War II. So they're now going to be the older adults of the future that are coming. And, it's going to have to be a little bit different in terms of how they're programmed for.
So currently, these are the individuals that are in between the ages of, I would say, maybe 67 and 80 right now, is the individuals that you're referring to, or are they a little bit younger?
Uh, well, let's see. I mean, of course, uh, 60 and 60 and 78 right now. Yeah,
Okay.
they're right between 60 and 78, and they're going to be getting older. Uh, really, essentially, they're going to be getting older in the next few years. So,
And, and you know
as
one
is
thing,
everybody else.
the baby boomer era, the baby boomer population in particular, talk about the just the whole adjustment to technological advances in society and how they've been able to bridge that experience that they had when they were in the workforce and now have elevated their lifestyle, their vitality and functionality, their pursuit of happiness, their pursuit of being a global citizen. You find that there are a lot of baby boomers that do a lot of travel, that are very proactive in their health and wellness, and who are still out there finding love and opportunities, and even starting new businesses well into their senior years. They really do harness the value assets of their experiences, and they tend to have also, when they have really good cognitive functioning, the ability to maintain a lot of that as well. I find them to be a very amazing population to work with. I love the challenge that they give a recreation therapist as a discernible customer and client, that has multiple options on how they can use their time. And I also really do enjoy their strong repertoire of hobbies that they already have in place from their younger years. Many of them have a very diverse catalog of hobbies that they are really good at as well. Not just a novice, but sometimes an expert or a competitive hobbies that they may have in place. And then also, they tend to have very strong social connections and long lasting friendships with others as well, that I noticed. So, yes, baby boomers are amazing. Looking forward, recreation therapists will be continue to be challenged with providing diverse and I would say wellness and health forward, health promotional programming that eliminates the walls of assisted living facilities or active senior living facilities, to meeting them in their homes and connecting them with organizations, making sure that baby boomers are civically engaged. They are one of the populations that is very active when it comes to voting in the legislative process, political process as well. So I find them to be an amazing and also a well-informed population to service. And as they go on through the continuum of life and the eventual physical decline that comes with life, with the lifespan, utilizing the recreation therapist to take in those acuities and to try to slow down that process of decompensation on the physical and the cognitive spectrum, and increasing the optimized functionality of those individuals for the well-being of themselves and also for their family members. Many of them are widows or have spouses and kids and grandkids and great grandkids and great great grandkids. So it's a wonderful opportunity to serve baby boomers looking forward. Absolutely.
Yeah, well, I mean, they are the children of the 60s. I mean, so they were very politically and socially active. I mean, they are the generation of civil rights, um, you know, civil rights, women's rights, LGBTQIA plus rights. I mean, a little bit of that evolved a little bit later, even though, but of course, yeah, it's so the anti-Vietnam War, that was a big thing back when they were growing up, and all the pop culture around that. You know, Bob Dylan, the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, all of those kind of the music, the culture, the counterculture. Those are the things that they definitely identify with, and there's definitely a lot more to that than say when the world was simpler in the 50s, 40s, 30s, etc. When you know uh, in some ways, music and culture wasn't evolved and in question as much. So these are people who definitely do question kind of the traditional values, beliefs, ideals, and they have those that from that unique perspective, they have a lot of thoughts and feelings to process. So, and that's part of what we can do with you know with regards to which creates some great opportunities for music programs and arts programs to help them do that for that generation. So, and it is a very cognitively active generation. It's probably, I would probably say, the happiest and healthiest generation to point, being this age. Like I said, they're roughly 60 to 78 right now. When thinking about that 18-year-old span, yeah, 60 to 78 is pretty much what they would be. 1946, they'd be about 78 if they were born in early 46. And then if they were, if they were born in 64, they'd be about 60 right now. So, between those ages is kind of what they are now, and they're faced with new challenges because as the youngest of them are turning 60, they're looking into. Some of them have exited the workforce. Some of them are not quite exiting the workforce, and in the near future, a lot of the people are going to be, a lot of even the younger ones at age 60 are going to be making that transition to retirement. So I feel like there's a huge opportunity there to help a lot of them to transition to retirement because these are people who have been working all their lives and they're looking for, what am I going to do now?
Right.
Um, and fortunately, a lot of them have a lot of hobbies. Of course, some of them are very competitive. Yeah, they're at the prime of their careers, so some of them are reluctant to leave that.
Right.
Um, in terms of their earning potential and everything else, they're at the peak of their career. Um, is the peak of their career. Some of them are, uh, you know, taking that step of being semi-retired, because they don't want that full retirement. That full retirement kind of scares them, and and some of them, the older ones, have started to retire, and I'm sure some of them are looking for, what am I going to do now? And hopefully they're healthy enough to do that, and I think a lot of them are. So a lot of them,
I think it's so great that you mentioned that, Dan. Sorry to cut you off. I think that's so great you mentioned that because I think oftentimes what's pushed, especially for someone getting close to retirement, is for them to speak with a financial planner. But let's be honest here. Another leg of that should be speaking with a recreational therapist. As an expert
yeah,
on lifestyle management, as an expert on transitioning from work life to a life of leisure and retirement, and ensuring that that transition maintains an optimized functionality and vitality for that client. Oftentimes we hear about persons who retire from very stressful jobs or careers that they oftentimes don't live long after they retire. So I do feel as though, as people come close to retirement, that while they're reaching out to financial planners, that they should also be reaching out to a recreation therapist. Absolutely. To take on those life management services and supports for that individual and for their families. I think that that's a great niche for any rec therapist that would love to work with boomers moving forward. And they are such a large population within our census for the United States. It's a great limitless opportunity to do that. And oftentimes they do have access to wellness funds through their insurances and health management products that they may have as well. And they are definitely proactive and willing to engage as well. So I think that recreation therapists should definitely seize the opportunity to help baby boomers have a more active, productive lifestyle and a longer span of healthy, enjoyable experiences throughout their without their lifespan, throughout their life. So definitely, that's great. Thank you, Dan. That's wonderful. And next up, our next segment is on advocacy. What do you have to say about that, Dan?
Right. Well, and that's why that's kind of a nice transition because uh getting into new areas like leisure for baby boomers is part of the reason that we advocate. As a matter of fact, with my own consulting, it's possible that uh I could even make a stronger push for meeting that need, that great need that's there for baby boomers. Because this is a issue for a lot of them in terms of retirement. But the next month is recreational therapy month.
Yeah,
Cam, yeah. So February is recreational therapy month. So there's many things that could be done to you know uh, I guess, enhance the profession during that time. It's a special time for us in a way. So, providing an educational session about recreational therapy at your agency, making it available to the public, if possible, as well,
I
because
love
not enough people know about it. Providing educational materials for people about it, printing a poster, including a poster. So, um, yeah, throwing a party to celebrate, recreational therapy month, having a few games available, making it a place that's inclusive. So, and creating a certificate of appreciation for each recreational therapist in your department, contacting a local newspaper. So,
I love that.
we'll let them know about International Recreational Therapy Month. Ask them if they're willing to do a story.
I love that. Even radio stations as
Mhm.
well. And I find that oftentimes recreation therapists are the unsung heroes in healthcare. And many say that they may feel like they're not seen. So absolutely utilizing the month of February to show appreciation for your staff, for your therapists, and for your outstanding therapists. It's definitely a highlight that can be done to build awareness. I know oftentimes what we have done at my place of employment is that we have all worn our shirts of the schools that we graduated from. Many people are not aware of the educational obligations and experiences that we have as recreation therapists, and how that plays a huge part in building qualified workforce to do the work that we do. So highlighting our schools and showing our school pride and reaching out to your schools that you graduated from, and asking them to highlight you guys as seasoned professionals, and highlight the school builds awareness as well. I have also found that doing in services with nursing and different disciplines within the healthcare setting, along with I would say the executive leadership on the business side of your organization, giving opportunities for them to have experiences and wellness programs geared towards the staff is always great. And then, of course, as always, just being a walking billboard, wearing your shirts proudly, wearing your hats and your different memorabilia that you may wear, wearing it proudly, and always being open to having that conversation about all the great work that you do is always a great thing to do. I oftentimes say that even though we celebrate Recreation Therapy Month in February, I'm a walking billboard for recreation therapy 365 days a year. Indeed.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, other ideas, include sending an email to people across your agency, informing them, creating a bulletin board, sharing information on social media, and yeah, wearing your gear. Yeah.
Yeah, wearing your gear. So I would love for our viewership to drop some comments in the comment section regarding different ways that you build awareness about your profession for the month of February, or even throughout other times of the year. It would be great to hear back from our viewership on that. And next up, we have a segment called the nuts and bolts of therapeutic recreation. And one thing that I wanted to mention today as a nuts and bolts, meaning a critical skill that most RTs have in the facilitation of our programming, is the ability um, to officiate structured sports. Oftentimes, recreation therapists get a lot of skills in a lot of the, I would say, fundamentals of officiating a lot of common sports. These sports we utilize as modalities within our interventions because it's oftentimes sports that most of the clients can identify with. And we utilize these games in a non judgmental, oftentimes non competitive way to build team cohesion, to work on interpersonal relationship skills, to work on physical fitness, to work on self-esteem and self-efficacy. It has so many things that it can impact in a positive way. As we all know, rules are important. Society is full of rules, and games, in many respects, simulate society, because at that given point in time, while we may be engaged in that baseball game, that basketball game, that bocce ball game, that tennis game, that table tennis game, the rules are in place to keep everybody in alignment. And it gives opportunities for people to strategize and have a competitive edge against one or another. Gives each other an opportunity also to acknowledge a person's aptitudes and their lack of aptitudes, and to also work on getting better and congratulating the winners, as well. So I would say in the throes of a game, be it a kickball game, be it a dodgeball game, be it swimming, um, be it canoeing, or whichever, sport that may be happening, it gives us a great opportunity as recreation therapists to be that authority officiating the game and helping everyone navigate um, the competitiveness of it while also aligning to the rules and the regulations of the game. And then us, calling, I would say, fouls and points and different officiating measures of the game in a way that is not demeaning and not diminishing, but empowering, uplifting, and encouraging. So that today is the nuts and bolts of TR, is that oftentimes recreation therapists have the ability to officiate structured sports, knowing the rules and the regulations of many different games in sports.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, and as opposed to, and it's interesting you say that. Well, like our role in, sometimes with the, how do you say, this community of people that we often work with is a little bit sometimes different than coaches and phys ed teachers and other uh, modalities, because we're really trying to maximize the benefits of problem solving, cooperation, teamwork, strategy, etc. The cognitive benefits, physical, social, emotional benefits that participants get, and that's kind of what makes us a little bit unique, and that's kind of what we draw, uh, where we kind of are trying to get our participants in terms of, uh, I mean, other people can do a sports program, but our therapeutic sports program is us taking a program and making it therapeutic, getting them to realize what their goals are, and know, learn about the strategy and practice the strategy, the interpersonal relationship aspect of it, the cooperation, and those therapeutic outcomes that you're trying to get out of the participants. So that's what makes us a little bit unique in terms of, you know, the whole therapeutic sports.
Yes, it definitely delineates us from others. And then also when you take into consideration the role of adaptive sports and inclusive sports when it comes to the work that we do as recreation therapists and how we take those accommodations that oftentimes are reflected in the rules and regulations that the officiant has to take into considerations. That's also another skill set that oftentimes people do not acknowledge that RTs have, but we do have. And oftentimes, a lot of our colleagues that are in different disciplines, they do not have the knowledge base for those things as well. So definitely, as we branch out to work with different agencies and municipalities, that we highlight these essential skills that we have that many, many, many other disciplines do not have, and how it can enrich programming, it can improve health outcomes as well. And then we also, as Dan, just as you were saying, that we take into strong consideration how we document the progress or lack of progress of our clients and how we use objectives and goals. And we standardize, we use standardized scales to evaluate, and that we also use key metrics to show success of programs. It's super important that we take these skills, but we also quantify the I would say the results, the deliverables of these programs, so that we can be sustained and we can be funded and we can expand and scale up. So yes, that is our segment on the nuts and bolts of TR. And next up, we have our segment behind the numbers. And today, I would like to highlight the prevalence of teen dating violence. Oftentimes, we have found that 1 out of 6 teens have been victim or subjected to teen violence, either as perpetrator or as victim. So this is definitely a large phenomenon that is occurring in American culture. We as recreation therapists are the experts and oftentimes first point of contact when it comes to youth building these interpersonal relationship skills and exercising healthy boundaries, exercising good executive functioning when it comes to making the right choices to keep themselves safe. We do have, unfortunately, we have a culture that tends to lean in the direction of domination and control, and of physical domination, sexual hypersexuality, and different constructs that are put into place that oftentimes will take our teenagers to a point of no return and takes them down a road of believing that in order to be a good girlfriend, I need to do this. Or in order to be a good boyfriend, I need to do this. And it may be things that is very unhealthy and unsafe. So what I'm hoping that we can do as recreation therapists is that we can reduce this 1 in 6, I would say this 1 in 6 stat of teenagers experiencing teen dating violence, that we can reduce that in half, hopefully in the next 2 to 3 years, through active programming, through being infused into community parks and rec and other, I'd say, social campaigns, where we can begin to do surveys that are backed by clinical assessment tools that we use on a day-to-day basis that might be very user-friendly for the population to utilize through schools. And then we can flag students that might be more at risk of being victimized or might be more at risk of being a perpetrator, and then offering interventions to help them course correct What's your thoughts on that, Dan?
Yeah, that would be very helpful. It's probably not an area that's really that I've heard really talked about that much. So, it would be a good opportunity for us to kind of, you know, um, help shape what teen dating kind of is and how that could look like at that age. Because it's not really something I feel like that's been, for whatever reason, been very, uh, discussed. So, uh, yeah, yeah, it's a good idea, very good idea.
Thank you, thank you. And I also wanted to mention one more thing before we move on to the next segment. It's just the prevalence of it and how it's so pervasive. Because with the influx of uses of technology and social media, simply walking away from a toxic relationship doesn't mean that you're no longer being connected to it, because oftentimes cyberbullying will take the place, whenever the person that is abusing you can't get physical contact to you. So, there's many, many layers to teen dating violence that we must consider. And there's certain markers, in my opinion, like inflection points that could be utilized to flag, when teens need additional support. And when I mean additional support, I don't mean just by the caseworker at school or the counselor at school. I mean by recreation therapists. So this is a niche that recreation therapists who love working with youth and young adults can definitely flourish in, with the right training and the right approach and delivery and the right co-treat opportunities with different disciplines. So I definitely wanted to, mention this as one of the things on our behind the numbers segment.
Yeah, no question about it. Yeah, well, I mean, definitely, I know, and I've thought a lot about this, how it's a different world, and that definitely, I thought about it more as a younger kid, but that extends to teenagers certainly too, is the impact of social media on kids now. Um, that's a big uh, issue potentially with, like you were saying about relationships, how
Yeah.
cyberbullying and that type of a thing. So, yeah.
Yeah. So next up, guys, just to kind of lighten it up a little bit, because we did just cover a pretty heavy topic right there with teen dating violence. We're going to move on to social spheres. Okay. So social spheres is our segment where we speak about different avenues and vehicles to access leisure, lifestyle, positive social experiences, travel, and tourism. So today I would like to highlight some of the many recreation therapy based programs that we can definitely look into as consumers and as fellow recreation therapists when we want to have a great travel experience. As we know, we do have staff supported travel and tourism opportunities. And I wanted to highlight the resurgence of the cruise line industry. Okay, as we know, they were greatly impacted by the shutdown during COVID-19, even having some cruise ships that were quarantined just off the water because they had outbreaks on the cruise ship. Now we found that cruise ship leadership have found different ways to keep guests safe and secure, and also have found a lot of amazing ways to ensure that you have a wonderful time, whether or not you have a 3 day cruise, 5 day cruise, 7 day, 14 day, or if you're doing a cruise around the world. Okay, whether or not it is a river, is a ship that is that navigates rivers, or a ship that navigates the high seas. There definitely have a resurgence of cruise amenities and bookings. One cruise ship line that I wanted to highlight was the let's see, it's called the Autism on the Seas. It is a subset of Carnival Cruise Lines, and it's a staff supported cruise line that caters to persons with and without special needs. This is families and caregivers, and of course, the clients themselves. And what you are giving is you're giving someone, I would say, is like the equivalent of a butler and a nursing assistant who has the skill sets in place to ensure that they can accommodate the needs of the entire family and also accommodate the needs of the person with special needs, be it toileting, feeding, medication administration, whatever you need, it is there, and it's all for an affordable price. Um, New Horizons Concierge Firm is an affiliate of Autism on the Seas, which is a Carnival Cruise Line subset, and we definitely enjoy the options that are given and some of the amazing destinations that are given year round. It's very organized. It's secure. It's funded well. It's staffed well. The ships are beautiful, and they're also ADA compliant. So they have very good accessibility and amenities on the ships as well. So I would just love to highlight, Autism on the Seas and many, many other organizations that have special needs divisions that offer the accommodations that are needed for everyone in the family to have an enjoyable experience. What's your thoughts, Dan?
Yeah, that's great. I mean, it's yeah, I mean, I do like it when travel and tourism is getting on board with getting a more inclusive experience for people.
Yes, indeed. And think about it, guys, not just for, cruising, but also this is expanding to other experiences, be it, going on the ski slopes of Mammoth, whether or not it is doing water sports, in Florida or in Key West. It's so many different opportunities to improve accessibility and accommodation so that the entire family can have a great time. And that is our social sphere segment today. Next up is our segment called Fast Facts NTR. This segment here, I would love to highlight the fast fact that most recreation therapists are well versed in tabletop activities. And when I say tabletop, I would love to focus on our knowledge of card games. Okay. Oftentimes people think of card games, they think of Las Vegas, but I must admit, many, many, many RTs have a knowledge of various card games from bid whist to tonk to spades to king's corner to solitaire to I would say so many different card games that we've learned over the years. Poker as well. And we utilize these card games as a modality in our interventions in a non-judgmental, non-competitive fashion. But oftentimes we use card games to break the ice and to get to learn about our clients as we build rapport with them. And then we also, officiate tournaments, have prizes and parties. Oftentimes, card games are supplemental to the activities during an engagement. It is also something that is very well known with certain populations that we might work with. Like, for instance, most baby boomers enjoy card games as well. So, oftentimes, card games may be the supplemental to an activity or the main event. And many, many RTs, we oftentimes will keep a set of poker cards, a set of Uno cards in our bags as we go and we do our work on a day-to-day basis. What's your thoughts on that, Dan?
Yeah, absolutely. From war to solitaire to casino to poker to pinochle to there's all different kinds of card games, blackjack, that have are very much um spades, yeah, that we know that we can and hearts, yeah, that and we can facilitate and teach new games, new skills. Yeah, that's a great cognitive and social activity for people.
Yes, yes. And oftentimes we do use card games, which in documentation, many a times we call it a cognitive tabletop activity to improve brain plasticity, to optimize functionality, to build social opportunities for our clients. And also, many times I will use it in reminiscent therapy because many of our clients may have really truly loved to play cards in their younger years. So it brings joy, it brings a competitiveness that doesn't require a lot of physical prowess. And it gives people an opportunity to socialize over playing cards, and they may socialize about different lifestyle events and about future events that they may want to do. And then another thing that I really love about card games is you may have a club that is formed, and you guys rotate from house to house playing cards throughout the year. So it's a great social function as well. And it's safe, it can be sober, it doesn't require drinking, it doesn't require a lot of money either. A deck of cards is what, $3 or $4, you know.
Yeah, you
Kind
can
of
get
small,
it at the dollar store.
right?
Dollar Tree has it for a dollar,
Right.
$1.25 now, whatever. But yeah,
Absolutely. And then most card games, like most decks of cards come with the QR code inside of the card deck now that you can snapshot, and it'll take you to a link where it will give you all of the standard rules for the card games. So you don't have to go in and be unsure of what you're doing. And then of course there's so many YouTube tutorials that are in place now that teaches you about different rules for card games. And then also just the manipulation of cards, and then the the way that the hands can be moved and to improve dexterity and movement in your hands. And then I always really enjoy when I see a client that has the ability to move the cards so gracefully, like a casino, like a person that works at a casino, like a casino dealer. Many clients that I was unaware that had that skill, they showed us that they had that great skill of shuffling and moving the cards so gracefully. That's definitely an art form in and of itself as well. And then also to just the social element of it all. Oftentimes when people play card games, they make sure that they clip their nails, that their nails are done that day, that they dress nice. There's certain decorum around playing cards as well that really creates a very elevated experience when you get a chance to do card games. So that is a fast fact about TR. Many of us have that skill set of knowing various card games. And next up, and this is our last segment for today, so thank you viewership for hanging in there with us, is our Recreation Rooster stamp of approval. Go ahead, Dan.
yeah. Well, we did, of course. I think in the first episode, I what do you call endorsed Susan Wilson. I think this time I'm just going to endorse SUNY Cortland as a whole. It was a great experience. That's why I went to college and graduate school, and they have the longest run student conference in the nation.
Wow.
Um, yeah, longest run student conference in the nation. So every year people come from all over. I met people from all over the United States and beyond. Many have their doctorate in therapeutic recreation and, have been very prominent in the field. So, it's not just recreational therapy. They also have a management program. They have a graduate certificate program in therapeutic recreation online. So anybody anywhere could do it. Um, they also have outdoor recreation as well, so, all kind of three areas, management, uh, therapeutic recreation, outdoor recreation as majors and graduate programs for all that. So, they have master's degree programs for all of that. So, in terms of recreational therapy, it's a very good experience. I mean, of course, they do have some other areas that they're very into. I mean, of course, in some ways, you know, they they have a very good education department too, especially physical education department, sports management. So there's a lot of different majors that they have there. That athletic training, exercise science. That's, some of what they're known for. So, so that's the one I'm choosing today.
That's wonderful. So SUNY Cortland University,
Right, and in central New York, between Binghamton and Syracuse, right in the heart of New York State.
thank you. You are our recreation therapy, recreation rooster stamp of approval recipient for episode 3. And moving forward, we have some exciting news. The new look of Recreation Rooster podcast will debut on January the 22nd on our 4th episode of the year. Moving forward, we hope to be able to provide an aesthetically stimulating and vibrant presentation of all the great content that we would love to deliver to affect positive change and positive awareness about recreation therapy in general. And we want to thank you guys for growing with us, expanding with us, and evolving with us as we improve the viewer experience as well. And so I wanted to close out with both of us giving the opportunity to speak a little bit about our business. So if you are interested in reaching out to me directly, you can reach me at maisha@recreationrooster.org. If you want to reach out for any consulting with New Horizons Concierge Firm, please reach out at www.newhorizons-concierge.com, and you can call me at 213-524-6925. And Dan?
Yes, and for Leisure Dan Consulting Services, you could reach me at 845-987-0104. That's 845-987-0104. And or Daniel at recreationrooster.org. That's Daniel at recreationrooster.org.
Yes. So please like, share, and follow. Invite a friend. Please comment in our comment section as well on YouTube. You will also be able to find us on TikTok, on Facebook, and also on Instagram. And as we continue to grow, we encourage you to grow as well. Stronger together, and we're super excited about February 2024, which is Recreation Therapy Month. So
Right?
thank you much, and bye.
Yeah. And get our t-shirts. Goodbye.